speaking, there are three types of squats you see, or at least three types of back squats you see. One is the old school, very hingy, fairly wide stance powerlifting squat, although powerlifters now don't always do it. Second is going to be the very, very squatty squat, which you'll see Olympic lifters and like bodybuilders do a fair bit. And then you have a third one in the middle, what I call the hybrid squat. This one is actually what you see a lot of like middle to lightweight raw powerlifters will use these days. So, I'm going to perform all of these in a low bar position, simply because we consider that the most compressive position. But keep in mind, if you're doing like your squatty squats, you generally have a high bar or a front position. So, in my low bar position here, which is with the bar resting on my rear delts, I'm first going to perform the sort of very hingy powerlifting squat. You can see I've taken a pretty wide stance, and I'm torquing my feet into external rotation and abduction. In doing so, I'm actually creating a superficial compressive strategy posteriorly. From here, I spread the floor and sit my hips down and back. So from here, even though I'm creating external rotation with muscular effort, I'm actually in a strong internal rotation position of the hip. So the second is going to be the very, very squatty squat. I have a more narrow stance. From here, I'm going to try and think about keeping my torso as upright as possible as I reach my knees as far forward as possible. Finally, the hybrid squat, which you see most raw powerlifters adopt today. It's got a more moderate stance, and my hips are going to go somewhere between a hinge and a squat. In terms of anatomical demands of the three squat variants, we can see that the first squat variation is going to require a whole lot of internal rotation of the hip. And if you don't have it, that's why you'll fail to hit depth or get a little bit of hip pinching, which I'm actually experiencing now. The squatty squat is going to require a combination of a lot of dorsiflexion, but also a good amount of excursion between internal rotation and external rotation. Someone who can't bottom out a squatty squat usually has upper sacral compression or upper thorax compression. Finally, the hybrid squat is going to have its demands somewhere in the middle.